What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Podcastrophe's first episode of what we are calling Maulcastrophe, where Dick and I talk about Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. Thank you, Chewie, for being right in my face. It's kind
Hell
of fitting
yeah.
because his name is Chewbacca.
Face
Got my
full of
Star Wars
ass.
hat. That's right. Star Wars hat, Yoda t shirt. I am your co host, Scott Bush, and with me, as always, is the wonderful Dick. Hello, Dick.
Hey,
So,
beautiful intro. Beautiful intro.
thank you very much. So we've got. Well, I've been so stoked to talk about this. So we're finally got a Maul series after how many years that Clone Wars ended and Rebels, like Rebels has been over for 4 or 5 years, something like that. Like it ended like 2021 or somewhere around there, maybe sooner than that.
I have no idea. I don't remember because I
It
didn't watch Rebels until just before Ahsoka.
okay. So Star Wars Rebels. Let me see here. It went on for quite a while. I want to say actually it might have ended later than that.
Force.
Star Wars Rebels ended in the last episode is February 19th, 2018. So it's
Okay.
been 8 years since we've had any mall content. And as everybody
And
knows, at the
wrong.
well, okay, since we've had
Clone Wars
animated
season 7.
season
That was
seven, but
2020.
was that
That was
2020? Okay,
2020. I watched that during the pandemic while I was stuck at home.
so 6-ish years since we've had any mall content, which is still a very impressive time. I don't think anybody thought that Sam Witwer was going to be back. And
Yeah.
if for those of you who are just listening and of our friends and don't know, Sam Witwer is the voice of Maul. And this man was also, he kind of got his introduction as Star Killer in the original Force Unleashed and Force Unleashed 2 games. The dude is a paragon of Star Wars fandom. He is literally sits at kind of the peak of the summit. He is the cream of the crop when it comes to people who know the ins and outs of Star Wars.
Yeah. You said it.
So, Maul, Shadow Lord. First, we'll do some first impressions here. What is your initial take on just all of it? Any first impressions?
My very first impressions was it's very, very visceral, very cat and mouse
That's the
so far.
perfect word.
And it's not just cat and mouse between Maul and Detective Lawson. It's cat and mouse between Maul and the syndicates. It's interesting. It's like I said. It's very visceral. It's very raw.
It is extremely raw. I love that you use the word visceral because I was just explaining to a coworker today. He was like, "So have you watched that new Star Wars show?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean Maul?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, that one." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "So just describe it to me in one word." And I was like, "Visceral." It is just super. It's gritty. It's dark. You're on a planet that is semi reminiscent of, in my opinion, like Nal Hutta. You know, you've got the crime syndicates, you've got all of the gangs, you've got the underdog police force that's just trying to keep it together, while at the same time, like the Empire currently has no presence on this planet in the introduction. We're what, a year after Order 66?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're very early in the timeline of, Darth Vader, the end of the Jedi. Clone Wars has wrapped up the Empire. As at this point, the Empire is standing on its own 2 feet, and the Empire is, very quickly, we're only a year into this Empire timeline, and it's very quickly considered like a. You can see these outer rim territories where they're like, we don't want the Empire getting into our business, right?
Yeah.
So clearly, the Empire's already shown like an iron fist with all of
Hey,
this.
real quick. So you're coming up. You're coming out like Discord's kind of being like laggy for me. Like your audio is very crisp and perfect, but literally the moment I hit record, like you started like glitching out and getting shitty. So I don't want to derail this, but this is how
Don't worry,
this is podcasting.
this is podcasting, folks. We can fix this. We're just going to close all of the things.
Yeah, you normally don't do this in Discord. It's pretty crazy. Hold on,
It's all
folks.
right.
We're
We're going
getting
to
there.
close all of the things.
I am also going to close some things.
It might also just take a second for Discord to catch back up.
Yeah.
All right, that should be better.
How am I appearing to you? Am I?
You're also ironically sounding a little a little buggy, but
You're
that's all
not
right.
sounding buggy. You look buggy.
Oh, that's probably just my Discord not catching up
Yeah, I don't know. It's
because
weird.
it's
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 been
probably all on my end.
literally the moment I hit record because you were fine until I hit record, and it's not like this actually takes any like streaming bandwidth to record a screen.
No, it literally takes none at all.
So, might
There
just
we
need to
go.
soldier through.
We'll just have to work through it. So my first impressions of Maul, aside from Visceral, are it, I don't know if you noticed, but Maul is he's a completely different Maul in this one.
Yes.
He's cold, he's calculating, he's patient. We haven't seen a patient Maul. Maul in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, like he had a sole focus, right? And of course, between the Clone Wars and Rebels, we're jumping, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going, years. There's almost a 20-year gap between Clone Wars and the Rebels series. And all we ever see is an erratic Maul. We see him angry. We see him persistent. We see him like tunnel vision. The only thing he cares about is Kenobi. And at the beginning of Maul here, it's kind of different. Like there's no Obi-Wan hasn't been mentioned a single time in these first two
No,
episodes.
not once.
Not once. And so, you know, he's not been mentioned once. Maul has. We don't actually see what happens after Sidious gets a hold of Maul. And so there's no.
There is a comic.
Right, but in the show, we don't see like in any of
Right.
the animated shows, there's nothing that shows us what exactly happens with Sidious and Maul and how Sidious or releases him or if Maul escapes, if he's kind of like hiding low because he doesn't want to be found because we see in the second episode that Detective Lawson, or actually it's in the first episode, right? They see Maul's face. Maul
Mm-hmm.
gets captured on screen by a recording by a security bot, and they try to access the file, and they're immediately told this is locked at the highest levels of the Empire, like restricted ISB.
You have to report this.
You have to report him. Like
Yeah.
if you don't report him, it is basically like an affront to Sidious himself. Because unbeknownst to everybody else, this is an affront to Sidious himself, right?
Yes.
So they kind of let on that Maul has escaped, or he's like fallen completely off the grid and he's doing his own thing, without the context of the comic, which even I'm not aware of the comic, so I'm very curious about
So
that.
I don't remember the comic much. So the fun fact, the very first time I had my own segment on Journey into Comics podcast was so I guessed it on the show, and it was I drove. This is gonna be a little story. I drove to Frankfurt to Brandon's house so we could record, and we zoomed. We did a Skype call with Nate Phillips, and
Hmm.
the whole podcast. We were gonna do our normal thing, but also we were gonna go over the Maul comic, and which I don't know how many issues it was. If it was just the one, I think we just covered the first issue, but yeah, we were gonna go over the Maul comic. And then, of course, that was also the first episode, the first time I had my own segment for an episode of Journey into Comics. Which, if you watch or listen to Podcastrophe, you know that the segments of on Journey into Comics that I did are what kind of got my start with Podcastrophe. So a little fun fact there. But basically, after the showdown with Sidious on Mandalore and murder of Savage Opress, Maul's brother, Sidious captures Maul, and the Maul comic is him escaping and
Is him escaping? Okay,
going back to
so it is
Mandalore.
canon that he like gets out because that's another thing
Yes.
we see is our first impression of Maul at near the beginning of the episode is basically him and other Zabraks, which I thought was really damn cool,
So
as well
those
as
totally got leaked to me because I saw the Funko Pops for them. I was like, who the hell are
really
they?
well, and so the fact that he's got Zabraks kind of alludes to the fact that he might have returned home to Dathomir
Yeah,
to either get,
or Iridonia.
brothers, or um, did he just recruit them out in the open galaxy? Like, not entirely sure, and I don't know if they'll explain that backstory. So we see him with two Zabraks in particular,
Hmm.
and we see him with his Mandalorians,
Yeah,
which
Rook
at this point,
Cast and the Mandalorians, the
yes,
Maulcastrophe.
the Mauldalorians. That's good. And so at this point, we see them though without their standard, like they don't have the horns
Hmm.
coming out of their helmets. It's not black and red like Maul. So
She is a little bit, but
she is a little bit, and I feel like because she's got her helmet off. So you look at her armor,
hmm,
and it's you look at her armor, and she's probably a remnant of that regime where Maul ruled on
yeah,
Mandalore.
yeah, she was definitely a character in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
During that era, she was a Maulcastrophe with I can't remember the main guy that he had, but
Pre Vizsla,
um,
or
I don't.
not Pre
It
Vizsla.
wasn't Pre Vizsla. Pre
It was
Pre Vizsla was the guy that he defeated. He killed. I can't remember if he killed him or if he
That's
just
right.
defeated him for the dark saber.
He defeated him for the dark
But in
saber.
Clone
That's who
Wars
it
season
was.
7, Maul has basically taken over Mandalore again.
Yes, yeah, yeah, for the second time.
Yeah.
But this time he's not. He's not the head of the government. I mean, he is, but he's like they allude to the Shadow Collective, where he's behind the scenes,
Yeah.
and he's got his senator, who's
Hmm.
like his senator that he basically busted out of jail with Savage,
And he's doing
and
this
was
whole
like,
thing just to lure in Anakin Skywalker.
yes. The whole idea is that he can get Anakin there and basically put an end to the prophecy, put an end to Sidious's plans, stop, and I can't remember. Does Maul see Order 66 coming? Like
Um
he's aware of Sidious's plans for Anakin, but I don't think he's aware of the extent that Sidious has this laid
yeah,
out.
no, he doesn't know the extent of which the plan is going to unfold. He knows there's a plan to destroy the Jedi, but he doesn't know how it's going to go down. Sidious never uh let him in on that.
Right.
But then like it's really cool. It is really cool when Order 66 is going down and Maul's seeing it all unfold and seeing it happen and like seeing it like in visions and whatnot. And he's
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, this is beautiful. Like this is what you were planning. Like it's perfect." Like he's just kind of admiring it, but while still having like this hatred for Sidious.
Well, and I mean, Sidious takes everything from him, right? Like
Yeah,
as
yeah.
Sidious is wont to do. But we see, and that is one of my favorite scenes, by the way. Is I feel like ever since Rogue One, we get a lot of hallway scenes
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
just so like. There was even a hallway scene in Maul, and it was perfect. It was
Mhm.
beautiful.
Mhm.
And so we see that there's a scene that really sticks out to me. We're talking about calm, collective, calculating Maul here, right? And a scene that really sticks out to me is when they're in the chase right after they get the girl, right? The youngling out of prison. They break in. They get
So she's not a
one of
youngling,
the.
she's a Padawan.
She's a Padawan.
Devon.
They get one of the crime boss leaders.
Mhm.
They bust
Barrio
him out.
or Dario or
Yep.
Barrio? Dario.
No, Dario's the one who got shot, isn't it?
No, that was
Or was
Demas
that the other guy?
or
Demas. Thank
Demi
you. A lot of
Demas.
D names in this one.
Yeah.
And so Dario, they bust him out. They take the girl. As they're running away from the police, you go on the. Now there's this big chase scene when they crash and they're in the middle of like the basically the highway is what we'll compare it to. There's a scene where her master and you could tell this dude's like a survivor of Order 66. Like,
Yeah.
he comes out, doesn't pull his lightsaber, but he comes out, and Maul can sense. Like,
Yeah. Oh
Maul
yeah.
knows this is a Jedi master.
He
Like,
can
this guy,
sense
he's
that
not
he
just a
is
knight.
him.
Yes. Like, and previously this would have been Maul, like, he would have done anything to kill this Jedi.
Oh
He
yeah.
he would have basically like ruined the whole op.
He's a target. He
Instead,
is yeah, he's a target. He is a threat to what I'm doing. I must eliminate him.
yeah.
That's not what we got.
Instead, no, he walks out, he walks toward him, he takes a few steps toward him. He almost nods to him like he does a kind of like a curt nod to him,
Yeah.
and then Maul just basically pulls the bridge down and is like, what are you gonna do about it? And
Yeah.
so at this point, we see the master turn and run so that he can save the people, because that's kind of the Jedi way. And Maul takes that opportunity. And this is one of the first times I've ever seen Maul like opt out of a situation where he's like, "All right, that guy's busy. Now's not the time or place. Let's go." Where instead Maul could have just run up and like cut the dude's head off. Instead, he takes the out and is like, I've got bigger fish to fry. It's no longer about the Jedi. The Jedi are done. They're a dead collective. I've got to continue my plan. And
Yes.
I thought that was just a super interesting side of Maul,
It
where
is.
he's not rushing into things. He's not erratic, right? He's very big picture. And
Yeah, he's very methodic. He plans
yes,
things. He plots. And and that's a side effect of, and it's something he says to the Padawan Devon. He says, like, you've been indoctrinated your entire life.
yeah.
It's a new galaxy out there. You have to adapt. You can't just cling to the the Jedi ways now. You have to adapt to survive.
Which I think is such a good that's such a good line, and it's such a like, because the way that Maul mentored Savage, it was very like, I'm the master, you're the apprentice, whatever I say goes. He teaches him, but he doesn't teach him a lot. He basically just makes Savage the killing machine that he is.
Yeah,
And in that time, he's like, I'm not really going to give you much, because I know the way the rule of two works, having been Sidious's apprentice. I know what happens when you eventually get burned. It's not an if, it's a when. You get burned as the master. So he's like, I'm going to sidestep that and just basically keep you under heel.
yeah,
Whereas with this, Padawan, he's actually giving her good, thoughtful, insightful guidance, actually giving her like really instructive footnotes on, hey, I want to see your force powers develop. I want to see what you're made of. The line he tells her where she's like, I don't want to be stuck in here, and he's like, then don't be.
yeah.
If she goes, I want to leave. He goes, then leave.
Then by all means leave.
Yeah, no one's gonna stop you. For basically encouraging her to like, I know you can use the force. You know you can use the force.
Hmm.
Do it. Get out. Break. But
It's definitely it's a cool test. It's a cool test of her. It's like, do what you have to do to get yourself out of this situation. Do what you have to do to survive.
yes, and I see it as a direct parallel to the Sith Code, where it's like, break your chains, right? Like
Hmm.
like you break your chains, get out of your whatever ties you have to that life. Stop being a pawn of whatever. The force is there, use it, right?
Yeah,
Reach out, grab it, and use it. You can do it, right? And so I think it's so cool to see her like at the end of the second episode where she's like, okay, I can't get the locks off of this thing. And you're like, is it, I took it a little bit as like almost like Obi-Wan, right? And when we see him in the Obi-Wan series, where it's like, is her connection to the Force a bit fractured because of the horrors she probably saw with the fall of the Jedi and the end of the Clone Wars? Like, because you see her reach out with the Force, and she's like, she's trying to get the clasps off from the front of that like little vault that she's in, and she can't quite get it, and it's like she almost seems timid, like she's scared, Like if
Yeah.
I reach out and use the Force, either something's going to find me or I'm going to discover something that I'm not happy with. And so you see her very like anxious with her connection to the Force,
Right.
even up until the point to where she goes to the back of the container, and she doesn't push the wall away. She pushes the container basically from
Right.
like all the way out from the wall and stuff, climbs out of it, and then kind of like looks at her hands like this, okay, like I can still use the Force. It is still there. Like
Yeah.
I can call on this, and I do still have this power, which I thought was just such a cool parallel to the trauma that Obi-Wan has, and how for years he cut himself off from the Force. And it's like, did she do that out of fear? What did her master tell her? Like, there's a time and a place, and now's not the time. Like we have to stay hidden.
Right.
Because you see him do kind of the same thing too, right? When he meets Detective Lawson in the alley, or like when she first gets arrested. Very beginning of the episode, she gets arrested, and
He's
her
like,
master's
we
like,
can't have a scene.
"Yeah."
Can't
He's
draw
like, "We
attention
can't.
to ourselves.
Right? No noise. It can't be loud. Like, could we do this? Yeah, and we could get away, no problem. But we're we're fugitives of the highest degree in the face of the Empire. Like, we will be priority number one if we reveal ourselves. So just take the loss, go to jail, and we'll figure it out."
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool for me to see this dynamic of a broken galaxy. Like the Clone Wars have taken their toll. People are very weary, and the Empire has already started being oppressive. Knowing the Empire, they've probably been oppressive since day one. City has probably enacted all of these different decrees, and started making all these laws and putting imperial might down. So we see a galaxy that's like kind of wrapped in fear
Mm-hmm.
and absorbed in darkness. And you said it best. Maul alludes to it in the best of ways, where he's like, "Hey, times have changed. This isn't the galaxy that you and I are accustomed to
Yeah.
being in. This isn't the galaxy we were brought up in. We were trained in. Like nothing prepared us for this. Adapt, like
Mm-hmm.
sink or swim, basically."
Mm-hmm.
Which I just thought was super neat.
Man, yeah, I love seeing this super methodic Maul, but at the same time, when he does fight, when he does kick like ignite that saber, he is just as brutal and he is just as vicious, and I absolutely love it because that is what we came here for. We came here for fucking
Yes,
Maul.
and he doesn't even with his saber combat. It's not over the top. He's not being flashy.
No.
It's not like excessive destruction. That's something I think they showed really well in the escape from
Oh
um,
yeah.
the police
The,
station scene,
oh
where
yeah. I was thinking the Venator
he's
in Clone
it's
Wars.
well. So the Venator is another great example where
Yeah, he was a fucking
I feel
wrecking
like
ball.
and I mean he's tearing that ship apart from the inside, right?
I
Like
I
he's really
feel
going to town.
I feel like that scene, and not to take away from the Maul series right now, but to go back to Clone Wars season 7, the final episode. I'm pretty sure it was the final episode. It was either the final episode or the one before it. Which those last 4 episodes are just a complete masterpiece. The Siege of Mandalore and then Order 66.
Yeah, and
Just
it all happens so fast.
yeah, and it adds so much to Revenge of the Sith. But
It does.
that scene where where Ahsoka says, uh, you're an agent of chaos. Like I could never work with you, but that I need you right now. So
Yeah,
go be chaos. It's
yeah.
like
Go do your thing.
go do your thing, be a distraction while I do my thing, and it's just him rampaging down this fucking Venator, like just absolutely murdering people, like shutting closing doors on people's arms, and it's just he is a wrecking ball of fucking dark side power, and I love it. And I feel like that scene was very inspired by The Force Unleashed, which is very fitting
Yes.
because
Yeah.
Sam Witwer, the star of Force Unleashed, voices
Hmm.
Maul.
And it's there. it like Lucas has always said, right? It's poetry. It
Yes.
rhymes.
Yes.
And the parallels in this are so good because you see a lot of that from like Force Unleashed, where we've got Star Killer, and you get his cool hallway scene, and then you see him on a rampage. You get the same thing with Maul in the Venator, but then it's a complete paradigm shift where when they're escaping from the police station and Maul's running, he's actually got the rest of his guys down the ladder first. He's not the first to go.
Yeah.
He's not like, you're all expendable. He's like, I need you guys. And we notice he's only using his lightsaber climbing down the ladder to deflect.
Yes.
He's not like, you know, I'll stay here and just kill the entire police station because that draws attention, right? Instead, he's like, I will stay here and cover the retreat, and I'll deflect the blaster shots and stuff, and I'll make sure that we all get out of this. It's very, I don't know. That's a side of Maul that I think has been not shunned, but they've been kind of waiting in the wings for. You see all of the traumas of Maul, and I think you see all of the lessons that he's learned and everything that he had and everything that he lost when Sidious took everything from him, and then he lost his. He says it a few times, right, where he's like, "I'm taking back what's mine," right? He's like, "I'm not robbing you. This was all mine to begin with.
Yeah, and you betrayed me.
I'm just coming to collect my property," right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just such a cool, like, I can't wait to see the next two episodes to determine, I want to see where Maul goes with this, and
Yeah.
I want to see does he, because at some point, right? This is kind of something I like where they nestle shows, and Maul is nestled so perfectly. A year after the Clone Wars, still a solid like what, seven, maybe 16, 17 years before we see him at that point in Rebels, if not 18 years before we
Yeah.
see him in Rebels, where he's on Malachor, and he's a shell of his former self. He's starving to death. Like
Is he though?
that's like,
Or is
it's,
that
well,
just what he wants Ezra to see?
wants Ezra to think, right. And so we see this when we see Maul again in Clone Wars. He's deranged, right? He's
Oh
psychotic.
yeah.
The only thing that's keeping him going is hatred. When we see Maul at the end of this timeline, the end of his timeline, we see Maul like, he's older, he's wiser, he's more cunning, he's more malicious, right? He's much more dangerous because he is and has been now for 20 years a Sith Lord. We see Maul kind of at the height of it. I would say the height of his, as of yet shown galactic power towards the end of Clone Wars, where he's got an entire planet. He has all
Yeah.
of the crime syndicates. That is the peak of his collective power in that moment in the
In that
universe. And then we
moment,
see Maul
but think about it.
in that moment.
10 years later, roughly 10 years later, he has all that power again because we at the end of
In Rogue
Solo.
One.
No,
Or
no,
Solo,
yeah,
thank you.
Solo. I'm like Rogue
Solo.
One. He's dead as fuck in that. um, but in Solo, at the very end, he's clearly in charge of or has Crimson Dawn under his thumb. So at what point? So at some point, he reigned. Oh, what is going on? Uh, uh, I just lost Discord. What the hell? Hold on, folks. We're okay. That's interesting. Man, this has been a very fun episode, and hopefully we can get this up and running and finish the show real quick. I don't know. Of course, Discord has to check for updates. I think there's, yeah, I don't know. I got Scotty texting me. What is going on here? Let me turn my Wi-Fi off. Turn it back on. Really sorry for this interruption, folks. At least you can still hear me. Actually, you know what? Boom. You can still see me now. Now, here we go. Got Discord. And we're back.
We're really gonna have to piecemeal this
Oh
together.
my god! So I was recording the entire time during that, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, folks.
We'll
But
get
now,
it in, we'll get it in post.
like it was like Discord completely shut down on me. Like it was like failed to connect and all that. I think it might have been my Wi-Fi this entire time that was causing issues. Because now I see you clear as day, and you're smooth.
Yeah,
You're smooth. We're good.
perfect.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
worry, folks. We'll get it in post.
No, we won't. That's podcasting, folks. No, literally, I shut down Discord. Like I closed it out. I tried reopening it. And it's like checking for updates. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? Are we doing this? And then it just wouldn't stop. So I'm like, I wonder if there's something going on with my Wi-Fi. So I literally turned my Wi-Fi off, turned it back on. Everything works.
Perfect.
Meanwhile, I'm just talking. There's a black screen with all the logos on it, and then I'm like, oh wait, I could always just switch it to my camera so the people aren't looking at this.
That's perfect.
Anyway, what I was saying was he's in control of Crimson Dawn and all this.
Yes.
He has a shitload of power, roughly 10 BBY, and which is roughly 9 years after the Maul series that we're watching right now. So at some point, he is going to regain a shitload of power. And then at some point, he's going to lose all that power. Because how does he end up alone on Malachor?
And so there's
a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things that can be answered.
There's also a lot of, and this is why I love that they situated, this series right at the beginning of kind of this timeline. Is there's
the dark times.
We've got so much the dark time, and this is like the dark times.
Yes.
Which for to give a little exposition here for anybody who might be listening or watching this later. In the Star Wars timeline, at this point in Star Wars, about a year after, we go to Vader, right? At this point, Sidious's punishment for Vader is essentially, you are now the utmost tool of my oppression. You are taking your Vader's fist, your 501st Legion, and you are going to go fight on the front lines of every skirmish, every rebellion, every uprising, every remnant of the Clone Wars or new uprisings as a result of the Empire coming into power. I'm going to put you out there, and you are going to fight, and you are going to struggle, and you are going to hate your life, because that's where I want to keep you. So at this point, Vader's off doing stuff for Sidious and fighting all these battles and all these wars off in other parts of the galaxy.
Training the Inquisitorius.
Training the Inquisitorius, which we see Maul fight some of the Inquisitorius, and fight's a very loose word, because when we see Maul fight the Inquisitorius and Rebels, we're at a point where Maul, the only person who can probably match Maul in the galaxy, I would say there are 3 people who could probably match Maul in the galaxy at this point. Well, 4, right? So you've got Ahsoka, who could for sure fight Maul, especially when they meet again. Like, Ahsoka's been fighting this entire time. So, Ahsoka could take Maul.
And Maul could, or Ahsoka could take him back in the Clone Wars. Well, at least at the end of the Clone Wars.
At the end of the Clone Wars.
Because she did beat him.
Yes, and that's how he gets taken into custody on the Venator. Obi-Wan, obviously, can for sure take him, because he does at the end of Rebels. We know that Vader could for sure take Maul.
That would be such an interesting fight. I know that's what everybody wants.
They've never met, and they were so close to meeting on Malachor, and it still doesn't happen. And we know that Maul knows who Vader is, because in that scene on Malachor, and I know we're jumping series a little bit here, but the theme is Maul. Maul can feel Vader's presence when he gets to Malachor. He knows that that's Anakin. He knows that that's not someone to be fucked with, because this guy is basically like the end all. He was the end of the Jedi. He was the end of the Sith. He was the end of his rule on Mandalore as a direct result of Sidious being like, you're not getting in the way of this. Like Anakin uprooted everything.
All Maul had to do was not miss when he tried to
All
run
he had to,
when he
yeah,
tried to run him over,
all he had to do was
and
not miss Anakin.
and he had no idea who that was. He
At
was
that
just
point,
about to run him over for the love of the game.
yeah, and he had no clue, right?
He's like,
And
"Fuck this
so
kid,
it's
Anakin down."
Anakin Dad. That line right there destroyed the entire Star Wars timeline, and I think that's
It
such a
destroyed
powerful.
that line right there. Destroyed the entire Jedi Order.
It literally brought down the galaxy as it had stood for 1,000 years.
You know,
Brought it down in an instant.
Dave Filoni, there was a really cool round table. I'm pretty sure you watched this. It was a round table of all the directors of The Mandalorian from season one, and they're just talking Star Wars. They're talking the season, but they're also talking just Star Wars in general. And Dave Filoni has this really awesome monologue where he's talking about episode one and how it's called the Duel of the Fates, and it's not
Yes.
it's not. What's really interesting is Qui-Gon Jinn dying. If he hadn't died, Anakin would have had a real master. He would have had a father figure.
Yes.
He would have had someone who didn't have all this baggage of the Jedi Order, the dogma of the Jedi Order. He would have had someone who was a proper master for him, and he probably wouldn't have succumbed to Sidious's plot, his corruption, had he had Qui-Gon to train him.
Yep.
He wouldn't have
And
had,
that's
and Qui-Gon was just like the first loss in a string of losses for Anakin that pushed him to become Vader, that pushed him to this point where he couldn't handle losing Padme. So he's going to seek out
Qui-Gon's
the
death.
power.
Maul killing Qui-Gon was Qui-Gon. That right there was the demarcation point of, and that's exactly what Filoni alludes to, is that is the demarcation point in the Duel of the Fates between, there's a fork in the road where Qui-Gon would have saved everything, and by Maul killing him, it was already predetermined at that point, like, Sidious basically couldn't fail. Like,
Yeah.
at this point, nothing was going to stop Sidious. Like, it was the duel of the fate of the galaxy. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because Filoni carried that so well in everything. I mean, we see it again, right? Where um, that's, the fate again comes back to haunt. Had he not killed Qui-Gon, Maul might have been destroyed earlier, or he wouldn't have lost everything to Sidious as a result of Sidious enacting his plot, carrying his plot forward.
Mm-hmm.
The what ifs were they have that Marvel what if series. I would
Yeah,
love
I
to
would
see
love
a
to see
Star
a Star
Wars
Wars
what if,
one. Yeah,
where they're
it'd
like,
be
here's what the timeline could have looked like.
yeah, it would have been
had
incredible.
and it's funny because I think there are two points where the timeline could have been saved. If Maul would have just dozered over Anakin in the middle of the desert in Tatooine, if he would have done it right there,
It's so
that would have been
fucking
it.
true.
Or if Qui-Gon wouldn't have lost to Maul.
Yeah,
And whether that meant Maul's death, whether that meant Maul was no longer a threat, whatever that looked like, if Qui-Gon simply wouldn't have died there and wouldn't have lost to Maul, I think even if Qui-Gon would have had like another 5 years to train Anakin at the start of his apprenticeship and the start of being a Padawan, I think that even that would have been enough. And then Qui-Gon would have died later. I think that still would have been enough for Qui-Gon to instill a sense of like honor, nobility, and like what it truly means to be a Jedi in Anakin, because Obi-Wan did his best and Obi-Wan did a damn good job. But
yeah,
Obi-Wan said it best. He's like, you were my brother. They were brothers. They were
yeah.
best friends.
And he
It
wasn't
wasn't so
prepared
much a
for that.
master apprentice.
He
No,
was
he got thrust into that.
he got thrust into having a Padawan right off the bat when he literally just became a knight without even going through the trials, but having his own trial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he wasn't ready.
it's
He was
also
not
interesting.
ready.
It's also interesting, and just knowing the fact that so there's some comics that depict Anakin as a Padawan, like basically he programmed a training droid to. He remembered how Maul fought. He programmed this
Yeah.
training droid to fight like Maul, so he could the one person who it was like, remember what he says, no one can kill a Jedi. Like, the one person he knows killed a Jedi, he wanted to make damn sure he could beat him. So
Yep.
no, god damn, it's just all so deep, and it there's so many little rabbit holes we could go down, and I'm just excited.
I think
I'm excited for this series, like, to where it's
the
gonna
Maul
go.
series they've set such a good foundation.
Yes,
It's
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 such a
so I
cool
know a lot of people
atmosphere.
too. It's a great atmosphere, and it's
Such a
got a
cool
very
atmosphere.
like. So I use the word visceral, and then I used a phrase kind of to describe. So I'm like, there are kind of two parts to Maul the series. There's the visceral part of Maul where it's dark, it's gritty, it's very like, melancholy, right? And then you have the other side to that, because that's Maul's side of Maul Shadow Lord. And then you've got the other side, which I was like, it's kind of a like sci-fi detective noir
Mm-hmm.
with
Yes,
Detective Lawson, and you've got it feels like an old kind of gritty, 1950s style, maybe not even 19, like 1920s 30s style, like that noir feel of.
it's really cool because they're both aware of each other.
They are both
Maul
aware
and
of each
Lawson,
other.
and I love that.
It's
Like,
like
go
it's like
go
two
ahead.
very powerful pieces on a chessboard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And they're feeling each other out. They're seeing each other take out like each other's pawns and each other's, pieces on the board.
yeah.
They're maneuvering. They're feeling each other out. Like, they don't directly engage each other. It's very much I want to see. Maul's very much like, I want to see what this detective's made of, and this detective is like, I want to know what the hell got.
I'm up against. Like, what am I up
Yeah.
against?
Well,
Because
because when he hears, go ahead.
there's that scene where he's getting information on Maul. He's like, Shadow Collective, and she's like,
I was just about to say that when
yeah.
he hear and he's like, "What the fuck is that?"
I really like that Maul isn't this unknown entity. People know about Maul. He is a shadow, but he's a known shadow. He's not like, it's not like Vader was in the early years of the Dark Times. It's like where Vader
Even
was like this
Vader, like
complete
towards the
mystery.
end of the Empire, like people still didn't have a big idea of who. Like, you
Well,
had
at
the only
first, like,
really
they
like.
didn't even know about him.
No, yeah,
He
they
was
had
kept
no clue.
secret in general.
Yeah,
And then as time went on, he was the Emperor's fist. I mean,
right. Yep, the right hand of the Emperor. And
so
so,
for people to know about Maul and know about the Shadow Collective and know, like, oh, I'm like, she said it too. She's like,
yes, the Padawan.
I'm glad. No, not yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Even the Padawan, Devon,
she's like, "I know who you are." She's
she's
like, "I know who you are." She's like, "I know what you are."
yeah. But the chick that Lawson's talking to, she's like, I'm glad I never made a deal with him. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Where they're in that like kind of casino-esque. I don't know if you ever played SWOTOR. Um,
not real. I played like an hour of the game. I mean, I've played KOTOR 1 and 2.
so I can't remember. I don't think in KOTOR's one. I'm not sure about two because I never finished it. But in SWOTOR, you go to Nal Hutta. I know that's a big bomb. You go to Nal Hutta, which is the home world of the Hutts,
Yes.
and on Nal Hutta. So like in that scene where Detective Lawson is walking up to like this kind of casino gamble, you've got the neon lights and stuff. That is almost shot for shot a scene that you have when you arrive to Nal Hutta.
Okay.
Your character is walking up to this. The building looks exactly the same,
Okay.
like the
That's cool.
big dome, the neon lights, the speeders, the casino kind of thing. Like it is all almost shot for shot a scene that they have in SWOTOR, which I think is fantastic. And so they give you the idea that this is a very like criminal underworld crime syndicate planet. Like, this is probably somewhere on the outer rim. This is the outskirts. This is a kind of a lawless place where it's like the police try to rein it in, but and Detective Lawson even says it when he meets the Padawan, right? Where he's like, give me a name, give me something, because I've got so much stuff piled up. He's like, I've got so much stuff to do. You get the idea that
She's such an
we even see
angry
it with
little
his
shit.
son.
For
She is an
for
angry
being a
little shit.
Padawan, she is just angry, and I mean, and understandably so. Like, she's bitter. She's bitter
She's
that they
bitter,
have to live like this.
and you wonder at what point, was she, she probably was not deployed on the front lines. Her master more than likely was,
Well,
at
the thing
least at some
is,
point.
I was gonna say the thing is, if she's a Padawan, then that means she was with her master.
She was, yes, she had to have been with her master, which is probably why they survived Order 66. Were they at the temple at the time? Was he taking
There's
her
no way they
in
were
the
at the temple at the
galaxy?
time. They'd be dead.
Well, so there are Jedi who escaped the temple
Very few.
because very few, but
Very few. I
they
mean,
they give us
Quint.
the idea.
What's his name? The guy who Keller and Beck, played by Ahmad
Keller and
Best,
Beck,
Jar Jar
who plays
Binks.
Jar Jar. Yep, who
And
plays Jar Jar
then of
Binks,
course Reva, she survived.
which is,
She survived
we don't need to
two
go into that one.
two lightsabers to the fucking stomach.
Yeah, which
R.I.P.
is,
R.I.P. Qui-Gon.
yeah, yeah, no shit. And so that they allude to the fact that there are Jedi who escaped the temple. Like, technically, because this is also in the comics, the librarian, she escaped
Yeah.
because she gets killed later on because she mentions Vader's name, like his real, like, I know who you are, Anakin, and
Yeah.
Anakin's like, yeah, no, can't have that, so he kills her.
Actually,
Um,
no.
does he not? Because I thought
No,
he
I'm
killed
I'm
her
that's
while she was
I'm Vader. Like, I'm Vader in that moment.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no,
actually,
yeah, like,
no, you're dead.
you name drop me because there, if I'm not
How
mistaken,
dare you
there
dead
is
name me?
a, yeah, right.
How
There
dare
is
you
a
use my government
clone.
name? Actually, technically, Vader is
There's a
his government name.
Vader is his government name. There is a clone commander who name drops Anakin's name, and I think he's part of the Coruscant Guard. But he name drops Vader's name, and Vader kills the entire detachment of clones that's with him at that time.
Yeah,
Like, this is
because they're
very
gonna
soon
know.
after Order 66, because they're gonna know. And so Vader's like, can't have that. Not in
No,
my world.
no.
And so Vader just slaughters them, right? So we get the idea that they could have been at the temple. Her and her master could have been at the temple. As of right now, for episodes 1 and 2, we don't know the extent of the backstory. I would say they more than likely weren't, because the idea of people who escaped the temple, it wasn't like Padawans and masters. It was basically masters. The
You,
only reason that Keller and Beck escaped is because he was the Jedi saber instructor who instructed saber techniques and saber combat to everybody at the temple. Anybody who
yeah,
was a Padawan or a knight passed through his training. Like, they said, according to the lore, he is a greater swordsman than even Yoda. Like, he rivaled Count Dooku and Mace Windu in his ability to use a lightsaber.
yeah.
So and we see that with his ability using two sabers, right? So
hmm
not sure where they are at this, but I get the
So
idea that they were probably somewhere in the galaxy at the time of Order 66.
I want them to take. And I don't know if they're gonna do this. I don't even really think they're gonna do this. But it would be really cool for them to take an episode to go back a year to
Yes.
still post Order 66, but how did Maul, like, where did Maul go after the Venator? Where was the Jedi Master and his Padawan? Let's look where how they got to where they are. I
Yes.
want to I
How
want
did
to take an
everybody,
episode to, like, look back on
and
that.
give us some backstory, right?
Mhm.
Set up, because right now they've done
Or
a
maybe
very
don't.
good job of setting up the here and now.
Yeah, or maybe just
The
don't do
here and
that.
now is
Who
great.
knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
maybe that's exposition that's not important, right?
Yeah.
Because what they've done a very good job of thus far is, I this is actually something I've kind of hated, but I've only hated it because it's been so good with episodes 1 and 2, is they've been drip feeding us the current plot. Like,
Yes.
everything is moving very slowly. You get small scenes of combat and of Maul actually like, showing you who he is and people starting to find out like, oh, this is Maul, and people name dropping him, like different characters name dropping him, where Detective Lawson finds out who he is. His contact at this casino is like, I'm glad I never made a deal with him. So it's like you've known him for quite some time. You have these other crime syndicate leaders who they're terrified of Maul, and it's like, oh, there's no way it's him. There's no way that he's the one who's still pulling the strings behind our backs. They've done a great job of creating this like a ghost.
Yeah, he's a
He's
phantom.
not he's not he's not a legend. He's not a myth. He's a phantom.
He's a
He is
phantom
the
menace.
he's the Phantom Menace. They've done a very good job of setting up this. It's almost like people talk about Maul in whispers, not because he's some like unseen, unknown like entity out in the galaxy. It's like people know who he is, but they don't know what happened to him. They don't
Right.
know how
He
he
just kind of
lost
fell off. He
everything.
just fell off and disappeared.
Right. He just didn't
Thought
come back
dead.
one day.
Thought dead.
Right. Yep. They thought he was gone and out of the picture. So I'm very excited to see
Yeah.
where they go with episodes 3 and 4. I'm excited to see because we get 10 episodes for season 1. They've already greenlit a season 2, which tells me that they have everything's written. I am at this point. I don't know how production works for animated shows like this. They're releasing 2 episodes a week for 5 weeks until we get to May 4th, which is the last 2 episodes. I believe are May 4th or around May 4th.
It should be May 4th.
Is it May
That's
4th
yeah.
that we get the last 2 episodes for season 1? So I don't know if they're like still trimming things up like week by week where it's like, oh, we could polish this here or do that there, add a line in here, or if like production's done and they're just kind of releasing it as, to air as things are coming along. But I'm very excited to see where this season goes, how Maul fits into the timeline of having lost his power. Is he going to, has he regained it by the end of season 1? Is it setting it up for he's regained enough of it to where now we're working towards season 2 is where he gains it back? Are there going to be time skips in these episodes? I
Hmm.
get the idea that the first 10 episodes are in the here and now, and that there will probably be something of a time skip between season 1 and
Yeah.
2, but we don't know
We'll
yet.
see. The last thing we saw was Devin escaping her little capsule,
Yes. Yep. Her
her jail
tiny
cell.
prison.
Um,
Yep.
and I'm excited to see where that leads in terms of Maul's plan because he wanted her to do that. He wanted her to
And
escape and leave.
and you definitely get the idea that like it's they blatantly show that that's what he wants for her because she's
I mean,
she's
he
sitting
tells
there,
her,
she's
leave.
looking around at the guards. He does flat out tell her, but then it's like she goes to like get the class and stuff. There's no guards, there's no one around to hear it. Like she makes all of that noise and there's no one around to hear it, and you just have to guess that like because they're literally in the room over.
Yeah.
It's one room over where Maul is doing all of his stuff,
Mhm.
or we haven't seen the rest of the hideout, so we get the idea that it's probably a small place. You see when they fly in episode 2, is it? Might be the end of episode 1, but episode 2 where they're flying in from the jailbreak, and they've got everybody in this hideout, and it's in like an abandoned part of the whatever planet we're in, kind of like the lower levels of Coruscant. It's got the same feel to it where no one comes around here. This isn't a place anybody would ever think to look. This has long since been abandoned. Now he's kind of rebuilding the Shadow Collective,
Yeah.
right? He's already taken out competition from one guy. He's captured another, and you get the idea that the other dude is just dead. The other crime leader he has in his possession is like, you are of use to me until you are of use to me no more. And the moment
Yep.
that happens, I'm not even going to hesitate. You're dead. There's no more talking.
He's such a sleazy guy too. I can't wait for him to die.
Dude, he's such a dirtbag. Yeah, that dude is such a piece of
Um,
shit.
But until next week, I think
Yes.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited to do this for the next several weeks as we dive into the world of Maul and we give everybody that's a fan of us, and maybe even more. Maybe we'll expand our audience with this. Is that another train coming? Damn. But we're gonna give people what they want. They want to hear us. We literally had someone in the last episode of Podcastrophe that we did saying, "I can't wait for you to hear you guys talk about Maul," and that's what we're doing right now. We're gonna do it week by week, not episode by episode. We're gonna do the episode since every week there's 2 episodes dropped. We are going to just cover both of those episodes in just one video. No sense in stretching this out more than we have to. So yeah, and I'm excited to do that with you, man.
I really look forward to it. Obviously, Star Wars for both of us is a big deal.
Huge deal.
We're huge Star Wars fans. For anybody who listens to this, maybe listens to us for the first time or watches us for the first time, if you watch our main podcast, Podcastrophe, you'll hear us over the last almost 40 episodes that Dick and I have done together. You'll hear us go off on Star Wars tangents, especially in the first few episodes that we did together. We had sometimes 20 to 40 minute excerpts of we're just talking Star Wars. We have lost viewers to just talking Star Wars.
We literally had a hangout session last week where we were supposed to be talking shop about the podcast.
Yeah.
And then it just completely, within an hour and a half of just us hanging out, it completely devolved into just us discussing Star Wars. But anyway,
it's hard to get away from.
It is. I mean, here we are doing a whole dedicated episode. So with that being said, I'm excited to keep this going. I'm excited to see where this series goes. Please tune in every week. We're going to drop this. This is YouTube exclusive. So you can only find this here on YouTube. And so, yeah, just watch the show. Subscribe to the channel so you know when it drops. And then we also have the audio podcast, which can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and potentially other places too. That's just Podcastrophe. Just search Podcastrophe. You'll see Scotty and I's faces. And then we stream live on Facebook every week. So we just did 200. We just did 200 episodes. And
200 episodes.
This week we're back next week, Scotty. We're back next week. I'm excited to get back.
We are back next week.
And we got a whole lot of fun coming down the line, down the pipeline, the whatever.
It's coming through the pipe. It's in the works.
It's in the works. The sausage is being made, and Scotty loves some sausage.
I love me some sausage. I really do.
So yeah, I guess we'll just say bye. So bye, guys. Yep. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Smash that like button.
Tune in for our next 4 episodes as we do this across the next 4 weeks after this one. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
All right, later, guys.